Good morning and welcome, everybody. Members of the press, mavens, FORUS customers, and everybody who's just tuned in to find out more about our exciting news of our Global Digital Exchange that launched on the 1st. So yes, thank you all for making the time, and for those of you who are tuning in to the recording, thank you so much. I think you'll find this worth your time. Thank you. Whilst I'm on thank yous, I want to start off by thanking a few people who made today and the whole launch of the exchange possible. The people who are behind me standing here today. You know, you see one person representing FORUS, but it's a team of people around the world who've been working tirelessly over years to make it possible. Particularly the management team and my co-founders who've been amazing, made huge personal sacrifices to make today possible. So my thanks go to them. And I think this is really the start of the journey. Now that we've built the infrastructure and we've launched our exchange, we can really unlock the potential of this new technology in the fourth industrial revolution. So I think let me give it a bit of a context of what this exchange is, what led to it, and why we're standing here today. Is this the Johannesburg Stock Exchange a competitor? Is it an Alt-X? Where's it positioned? You hear the word exchange. Is it a crypto exchange? Well, FORUS Digital, I think, is the model for the new financial system. It's all of the things that I mentioned before. It's a stock exchange, it's a bond exchange, it's a Forex exchange, and a platform. And that's really brought about by this blockchain distributed ledger technology that's unlocking the potential, and I think what's going to drive the number of the fourth industrial revolution. So the reason why the world needs a fully integrated finance system is because our financial system has evolved. It wasn't designed the way it is. And when it comes to systems, all systems reach a point in their life cycle where they're more costly to maintain than they're worth. And it's time to build a new system that's optimized, that's built for the modern world with the current tools that are available. And I think the world of finance, is an example of an industry that can benefit from the scale that blockchain can now provide to come up with some really revolutionary, game-changing paradigms that restructure industries and take this combination of technological advancement and actually, if you think about it, the finance industry hasn't really benefited from the internet to the degree that it could because of the legacy systems, and because most of the companies in the space today have been in business since before the advent of the internet. You have all of these companies with pockets of information that replicate the same infrastructure, same ERP system, same security technology, the same personnel. It's replication after replication after replication. And with the technology available today, we can do it completely differently. It's a completely new paradigm shift where instead of having your information, you as the customer, having a record at your bank, your business bank, your insurance company, your short-term insurance, your pay TV package, everybody's got a system where they're managing your data. FORUS Digital Exchange was built for the paradigm where you own your data. It's stored centrally in a distributed ledger, but with centralized access that you control. And then this creates a financial ecosystem that eliminates the need for a lot of the floats, a lot of the financing costs, because as soon as you have a delay between settlement, where at some point an intermediary has the asset and the money, you're going to have costs. What blockchain allows us to do is build an ecosystem that's built on trustless transactions, where the system manages the risk, eliminates the need for a float, and will dramatically reduce the cost of doing finance. But I think that a good way for people to understand what this exchange is to have a look at the example of the Robinhood GameStop story that's just unfolded. Because what that demonstrated is that in the old days, the people who took leverage positions, who were able to leverage their capital to make virtually riskless returns and large returns, now have to contend with not another hedge fund with $5 billion, but rather 1 million people with $500. And what that is the democratization of capital. That demonstrates, you see, the Robinhood app became the most popular app in the App Store. Realize that they can participate as a collective. So I think collective, being the operative word, is really the ethos behind the FORUS Digital Exchange. We've built as a public utility an exchange where the ecosystem can now raise capital, do transactions, get access to markets, all with no mess, no fuss, and no fees. So that's the context. Just to give it some more context, about 2 weeks ago, we announced that we'd applied for a banking license in South Africa, a mutual banking license, and we've started that application process. I also just want to add that we've done exactly the same thing in the United States. And I'm pleased to say that our Maven mutual banking license there is also advancing nicely. So to put the banking in the context of the exchange, all of this is built on top of a single infrastructure based on central bank issued digital currency, which is going to be the de facto standard. I think the jury's out. Certainly China's led the way with their central bank issued digital currency. But it is, I think now common knowledge and generally accepted that all the countries are going to do the same. The European Central Bank's one is imminent, and we'll have a digital euro. And what we're talking about there is central banks replacing paper money with digital money. It's nothing more, nothing less than that. It's not going to change the money supply. It's not going to. It's just the natural evolution of money, because paper money is nothing but a token with a serial number on that is managed by a central body. That body is now going to manage digital versions of the paper one. Nothing scary, nothing to see here, okay? And the technology exists now where all the different countries can opt for different models, and we're working on a project to make that interoperable. So let me talk a little bit about the context of that. So we're working on, as part of a global working group that's been constituted by R3, one of the biggest blockchain companies in the world, the Bank of International Settlements, IMF, World Bank, and a number of central banks, including Bank of England, European Central Bank, Bank of Japan, Canada, and so on. And seeing the need, the absolute need now with COVID in particular, for us to reduce the costs of doing business and the need to get money into the hands of the financially excluded, has led to this amazing global collaboration that for us is really absolutely fortunate to be a part of. And we're all collaborating as a global initiative to come up with an interoperable standard and a sandbox for central bank issued digital currency. And the FORUS Digital Exchange is because what we've seen in our work over the last couple of years, and certainly what became apparent from the working group, is that there's a need in the market for a privately owned or public-private initiative to lead the way in the introduction of central bank issued digital currency, because what's a part of the paradigm shift of digital money is that the money discussion is now no longer just a discussion for central banks and banks, because we need to look at the bigger ecosystem. Everybody has a role to play. Everybody has a say in how the money of the future must work. And that's what's amazing about this collaborative process that we're running. And FORUS has been instrumental in designing interoperable QR platform that will allow different digital currencies to interoperate and for people to do business across different blockchains and across different currencies. So the FORUS Exchange is that engine that drives that, and this is all based on the token principle, stable currencies, stable coins, and really the digitization of the economy. So that's the context. So what have we done? We've created this exchange. You can go to the website exchange.forus.co.za. That's exchange with an X. And you can go and check it out. You can see all of the instruments that we're trading. And officially, we opened for business. I don't even know what day of the week it is anymore. On the 1st, I think it was Monday. We've taken our first investment deposits, and we've seen incredible volume, and it's absolutely sparked the interest on the FORUS user base around the world. What we have now is a number of these instruments coming to market, which is, the practical implementation of all of this theory. So let's take a look at what it is that we're talking about. What are we financing, and how does the exchange work? I think a big part of the rationale in building this was really driven by our Maven network, which to over 100 people who've all been contributing to designing the financial system of the future. And what's made it so effective is we've had people from all different sectors. We have a number of professors, masters in economics, local economic development. We've had input from blockchain experts, entrepreneurs, students, and we've got input from Mavens in many, many different countries. We now have digital currency in over 25 countries. And through this cooperative process, we've built the exchange and also brought the first few projects to the market, because we've created a community trading platform. What we need to do now is we need to bring all the parties that need to trade together to allow the magic to happen. So we have a couple of 100 million rands worth of projects lined up. And these are all projects that are ideal for decentralized finance, ideal for an exchange where communities can invest in projects for themselves. And that's, to get back to the GameStop example, the investors who saved GameStop were people who liked the store. They were customers. They didn't want to see their local GameStop go out of business because of some greedy hedge funds trying to make a killing. So they got together as a community and said, no, we're going to support this. Well, what we have with the FORUS Digital Exchange is we have that, but on a larger scale. And what people can do is we'll be releasing our new app in the next couple of weeks that has our full trading platform in. And you will then, as a FORUS customer, be able to invest in the projects, in the currencies, in the bonds, all for whatever you can afford. So you can now participate, just like the people did with Robinhood. You can take 10 Rand and you can invest it in a share. Even if the share on an exchange would cost 1,000 Rand, you can buy a portion of it. So we've created this exchange that's designed for that. The other key driver behind the exchange really resulted from our work over the last couple of years in the local economic development sector in South Africa, Southeast Asia, and in the African American markets in the US, where there is an absolute exclusion from access to capital. And it's a common thread throughout, and it's really what's led to the poverty trap and why communities are unable to lift themselves out of poverty. We're playing the game of capitalism, without capital. It's like playing soccer without balls. What we need to do, and what the opportunity of the moment now is to take those small investors, unite them on a single platform where we can combine our money, invest in projects for us, for our communities that will lead to local economic development. And that's the key here to moving forward. So we have a number of funds that we've set up to invest in specific market areas that we think are going to have a massive strategic impact on the economic situation in developing countries. We've been very, very strategic about it, and we focused on certain areas. And this is the reason why you need an exchange, because the factors that have driven our investment choices are not just returns. It's not just about money. However, they are all profitable, because otherwise they're not sustainable. So that's need to be sustainable for the planet. You know, there's a crisis, and the world of finance can ignore it. We're not. We're smarter than that. So we're driving some investments in sustainability that are really going to have an impact. And within the next coming weeks, we're going to make some very significant announcements about some partnerships with global sustainability players. And we are going to be putting FORUS Digital on the sustainability map. We have some unbelievable transformational projects that are going to heal communities and the planet. And this is going to be the place for sustainable investors to come, because you can do well and do good. They're not mutually exclusive. So, you know, a big focus is sustainability. Another key focus area is local community development and economic development in local communities, be they rural or be they townships or poor communities. We have a strategy to address economic development there and to be able to get capital into those markets and list those instruments on the exchange. We securitize thousands of these small businesses through providing them wallets where we then collect our revenue off the top. So a lot of the investments on the exchange are not your typical equity investment, where you need to get involved in governance and costs and who's, how's the money being spent, how much are the shareholders drawing out. All of that falls away when you take a percentage of the revenue and you can securitize that from their wallets. So, you know, these are the funds that we're putting together to raise money at scale so that we can provide small businesses with access to funding all on this exchange. The other areas that we're investing in heavily are technologies that are going to drive the fourth industrial revolution. And I'm very happy and proud of our traceability sandbox, which we're doing in conjunction with some of the leading players in the agro-processing and agro-space. And not only will we be having a sandbox with the global central banks, but we're extending that now to the traceability space, because we need a single standard for traceability. If South Africa wants to compete, countries like South Africa, developing countries, want to compete in the global supply chain, if you don't have a traceability platform, you can forget it. You will never be able to rise out of just the basic subsistence level farming to become globally competitive. And we're going to make sure that the farmers have access to capital, access to expertise, and then access to traceability systems that will allow them to market their products in the global marketplace. So that's another really exciting initiative, and I think is going to be a massive breakthrough in the agricultural sector in countries like South Africa. We also, in that light, are also funding certain commodities and certain industries that we couldn't get funding for going through the traditional capital markets and the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. And those are industries like the cannabis industry. South Africa should be a world leader in this. Yet the projects that are all in various stages of development here are all looking for capital. So we put a fund together to make sure that we can invest in, take a long-term view of the industry, that we can get all of the producers to collaborate on the supply side, where we can negotiate offtake agreements, and where we can start to really capitalize on the massive history we have with the business and the whole industry. And also, very, very much compatible with our sustainability goals, as well as uplifting communities. So, that kind of a project is a gift to the country, and we're not exploiting it, because the only way you can exploit opportunities like this in a new industry is to collaborate. If all those projects are competing, none of them are going to be successful. So we've created a forum, we've created a mechanism where we can collaborate, and financially we can spread the risk. As we develop this industry, as it matures, we need to make sure that we're first in the queue. So that requires investment. Another industry that we're investing in is the film and media business. Cape Town is a world leader in productions. They're making movies all over the city, but they're making them for productions that are owned by foreign companies who make all the money because they're paying. So we're investing in developing the film industry, both from a developmental point of view, in the development of productions that can reach the global stage, but also in a funding model that will allow us to make upwards of 20 movies a year in the next 3 years, rather than the 1 or 2 that we make in South Africa. We also are raising funding for the development of a virtual reality platform in partnership with a global player. We'll be making an announcement in that regard in a couple of days. That is the future. For those of you who haven't tried virtual reality, give us a shout. We'll help you get connected with the future, and we'll have more information on that. The other area that we're investing heavily in is fintech in general, because now that we have a single platform that everybody can use, a single wallet, we're now able to offer fintech companies a customer base where they don't have to worry about a sponsoring bank, the risks, the complications, the paperwork, the time, the frustration. We've created an open platform, and we'll be launching our developer center in the next couple of weeks, and people can just integrate with our exchange, with our wallets, to one big single digital environment. And we're going to be bringing development companies on board over the next couple of weeks. So let's talk about the process, where we're at, and what's going to happen from here, and what are the instruments on the exchange. So I know that there are a lot of people who are watching this, particularly in Vietnam, in Indonesia, and Thailand, who want to know, when is MHX going to start trading freely? I know you want to know. Every day, it's really exciting to see you guys trading so actively and getting excited about it. So MHX is the equity token of the whole FORUS ecosystem. That was our way to get the dividends and the profits of building this platform that the world needs. And for Africa being the leaders, we've rewarded our customers with this equity token that is really going to produce a monthly revenue stream for people in Africa. That coin has been trading for the last 2 years on our private exchange. Mavens who join up are purchasing Mahala tokens, and we're going to be putting those on the exchange soon. So as soon as the app goes out with our trading platform on, the Mahala tokens will be the first tokens that you can trade. So that's coming real soon. So I'm going to cover now the steps that need to take place before that can happen, because whilst we're technically ready, the actual starting up of the exchange and getting the whole ecosystem turning on the engine needs to be managed in a little bit of an orderly fashion as we turn on the different pieces. But the Mahala token is ready to go, and we've got unbelievable interest, and we're excited to see when that thing starts trading. The other token that you can invest in now, the FDX, is the investment in the exchange itself. And we already have contractually more than 100 million customers signed up to roll out who will be using our Forex exchange, our stable coins. That is going to generate significant revenue over the next 12 months. So if people are looking to invest in what's going to be, I think, the token of the fourth industrial revolution, FDX is it. The Mahala token started at 50 cents. Today it's trading 50 US cents. Today it's trading at $100. I think the FDX is going to do even better. So if you're looking to invest in a token that's backed by a proper business, a global business, then look no further. And then we're in the process now of listing all of the projects. For those of you who are interested, we have a pre-listing statement that's available. You can get it on the website. All of the information's on the website. We'll be releasing, it's the abridged pre-listing. We'll be releasing the listing documentation in the next couple of days, and you'll be able to see all of the details. So for the people in finance who are interested, this is also an opportunity to get a seat on the exchange, and if you're an accounting firm, legal practice involved in the M&A space, I'd encourage you to become Mavens, join the platform. A Maven is somebody who contributes to making the platform happen. And we need people in the industry to come and tell us about what they need, what their frustrations are. And I think what we've done is by putting the exchange together the way we have, we've created a platform where globally people can now collaborate on raising funds for projects. And our objective, the goal that we set ourselves, was in our work in the Eastern Cape with Kucha and South African Local Government Association, we got to see firsthand what the challenges are of local economic development, the role the municipalities and the state has to play, etc. So what we've done now is, through that process, we learned that projects take on average 3.5 years to get off the ground. And I would say 95% of the projects that people spend those 3.5 years on don't get off the ground. And that's the reality. And you can see that in the development of the rural areas. So what this is an opportunity to fast track projects. Our objective is to take a project from submission to funding in under 30 days. From 3.5 years to under 30 days. And I would like to see a large portion of the money that will end up being done instantly. And we have some amazing technology that makes this possible. So those are the main investments. Generally, we're investing in arts, entertainment, and hospitality, another big one. I think that's the last and the appropriate place to finish this discussion on, and that's the impact of COVID. I was debating whether to start with that or end with that, because if you start with that, it kind of takes the wind out of everything else. But I think it's appropriate to end on it, because I don't want to be Debbie Downer, but I think that we're heading into some really, really challenging economic realities. I think we're only now starting to see the impact of the first and second waves of the virus on the economy, and that's also going to be coming waves. And I think one of the biggest concerns that I have is that the majority of the people who've lost their jobs in the markets that we work in are immigrants, are foreign workers, are people who are remitting money back home. Now, in developing countries, 20% of their GDP comes from remittances, 20%. So you can imagine the impact of these job losses on that, which means the developing world is now going to see a massive drop-off on that revenue. So we need to act fast to stop the collapse of these economies, and we need to intervene proactively to replace that revenue, to drive the costs of remittances down, so that through efficiencies we can compensate for what is going to be some real economic hardship. And I think not only that, I think the lesson that COVID has taught us is that we need to invest in local economies, right? these global conglomerates, whilst it allows you to buy a t-shirt really cheap or a phone, when push comes to shove, if you don't have a local sustainable economy, you're not going to be able to survive in this new world. So this is going to require collaboration, and this is the moment where we need everybody to come and join the exchange, because it's a public utility. This is not an endeavor to do anything other than open up the taps of capital and get it into the parts of the economy that are dry, that are dying. And the key to it is that if you can, just like in agriculture, if you can get the water to the bottom and to that level, it's going to impact everything. So we're very excited about it. We're very excited about the team of people that have made it happen, the projects. And over the coming weeks and months, we will be presenting these projects. People will be able to invest. You can sit at home, use your app and invest. We're going to be doing institutional investing, going to the capital markets, and really pushing the scale so that we can bring economic relief and prosperity to the world. So I think on that note, I'm going to see if anybody has any questions. Okay, let's have a look at that. Have a look at the chat, and you'll see questions. We've got Mary manning womaning the chat desk over there. I don't know if anybody's got any questions.
Just on when how X can trade, which is spoken to, as well as when it can be swapped into fiat.
Okay, so all of our tokens will be interoperable, so you'll be able to swap it into fiat. The date is less of a happen before the exchange can start trading. So one of the key challenges in the digital space is security. And one thing that we're very committed to at FORUS is to make sure that we have no bad actors on our platform. So we're in the process of implementing the KYC AML processes in the various territories. So over the next week or two, we'll be contacting our customers and getting them to KYC themselves, make sure that everybody's legit and who they say they are. And that a certain level of that needs to take place before we can start allowing people to cash in and cash out. We have obviously fiduciary and compliance issues that need to be taken very seriously. So that's a process that has now started, that now that the exchange is open. So watch the space. You can find out what you need to do to become compliant. The other thing is that's the drive now on the Maven network. We only have another 2,300 odd Maven places available globally. But it's absolutely critical to our model to make sure that the projects that we get are fast-tracked, properly managed, and brought to successful completion, because it can't be done without the expertise and without the support of the community. So this is key to our exchange. This is what makes our exchange different to anything else out there. It's crowdfunding combined with traditional markets that help mitigate the risk in a digital world. We need the community to validate the business model. We need the community to vouch for the individuals involved. All of this is not your traditional banking or finance way of managing risk, but in our world, in our social world, it's a brilliant way of doing it. So this allows us to eliminate a lot of the risks and the headaches in finance and compliance, where everybody's watching everybody to make sure that once they've stolen the money, someone can pick it up. Well, that's silly. With our platform, we make sure that nobody can misappropriate anything. There's complete visibility, traceability, transparency, and we're able to now stop worrying about all of those legacy issues. It's just no longer relevant, and that's what the new platform's about. Another question. That's it. Fantastic. Thank you, everybody. You're going to be seeing a lot more of me and the rest of the team over the coming weeks, now that the platform's ready to go. And I would say that I'm putting the challenge out there. When is MHX going to start trading? Come Mavens. I need like-minded people to come and take the responsibility. It's not just about the financial investment. It's about a commitment to saying, I'm not going to complain about things, I'm going to be part of the solution. Thank you. That's some coffee now.